You are on India Today podcasts and you are in the sledging room. Right then, this is a big episode. Like the Indian team made it, right? The World Cup squad has finally been announced, a 15-man squad. No surprises there, or maybe there are a few, depending on which side of the fence you're sitting on. A lot of people expected Yuzvendra Chahal to somehow make the cut to the World Cup side. Look, he wasn't part of the Asia Cup squad. And Ajit Agarkar, the chief selector, and Rohit Sharma, the India captain, more or less said that would be the final squad and the World Cup squad would be trimmed from the Asia Cup side. Again, would Shikhar Dhawan have made a surprise entry somewhere? Obviously. There was speculation R. Ashwin might just make it to the World Cup side as well. It wasn't to be. So, let's just summarize the World Cup 15 for India, announced on the 5th of September, the final day of the deadline for all teams to submit their preliminary squad for the World Cup. Of course, you can make as many changes as you like till the 20th of September. For starters, India's World Cup side, Rohit Sharma, the captain, Hardik Pandya, vice captain, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Rahul is in that side. Ishan Kishan, obviously, he has cemented his place. He's ensured nobody can touch him. Then there is Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Kuldeep Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj. Who am I missing out?
Shardul Thakur.
Surya Kumar Yadav and Shardul Thakur. Not bad. Got about 14 or 15 together on the trot. So we know our World Cup side. Again, like I said, no surprises. But we'll just start it off with two players in particular. Surprised that Yuzvendra Chahal was not even discussed, or maybe he was because the selectors felt you wouldn't want to play two wrist spinners. The team management thought it's okay to have two left-arm spinners of the same hue and more or less the same skill sets, but you didn't want two wrist spinners. Surprising. And also, for someone like Surya Kumar Yadav to retain his place in that side, and for Sanju Samson to be overlooked. I mean, look back at Sanju Samson last year. He almost pulled off that heist against South Africa. What a talented package he is. Yeah. And Surya Kumar Yadav then has made it to the World Cup side purely on the basis of his T20 form.
That's how we've been looking at things for quite some time now. Before Rishabh Pant got injured, we all remember, how there were mixing of formats by the selectors and the team management with Rishabh Pant as well. Yeah. And now they have done that with Surya Kumar Yadav. I don't know, as in, they've fallen for that temptation, that temptation of having someone who can win you matches, who can play that knock. I don't know whether he's going to play at number 6 or number 4. What is his
whether
role
he's going to
be?
play or not.
Exactly.
But what you guys are doing is making outside noise.
Yes.
How do you know what the atmosphere in the team is like?
18 months ago, we decided that Surya would play.
No, 18 months ago,
as
don't
a
be
reserve
sarcastic.
batter.
Don't be sarcastic. 18 months ago, you decided
Yeah.
Shreyas Iyer, Rahul and Rishabh Pant would be 4, 5, 6.
Yes.
Or was it? I mean, Don't be sarcastic. This is a World Cup side. You are making outside noise. Only the team can understand what they want. The team... Okay, so we'll summarize it as well. I mean, I'll just ignore Akshay's jibes and look at summarizing the World Cup squad in terms of the number of batsmen. 5 specialist batsmen, including Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, Surya Kumar Yadav, right?
Yeah.
So these are the 5 specialist batsmen.
Out of them, 3 are all-rounders. Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and Shreyas Iyer.
Listen, don't confuse me and don't rattle our audiences. Because...
Like, that's how we are looking at it.
It's still open for debate. Rohit Sharma's statement during the Asia Cup team selection press conference is still up for debate. Was Rohit kidding? Or was he serious when he said he and Virat Kohli might just roll their arms over during the Asia Cup and the World Cup? So the all-important Super 4 stages yet to be played. India have, of course, made it there, but we'll talk about it later. But yes, the 5 specialist batters, the 2 wicket keepers, Rahul and Ishan Kishan. Yeah. And then you have 4 all-rounders, as many as 4 all-rounders, Hardik Pandya, Shardul Thakur, the seam bowling all-rounders, Ravindra Jadeja and Akshar Patel, the spinning all-rounders. Kuldeep Yadav, would you also categorize him as an all-rounder because he got 40-odd in a test match not long back? And of course, he's the lone specialist spinner and the 3 specialist pacers in Shami, Siraj and Bumrah. Thank goodness Bumrah is fit, raring to go. He obviously came back home for the birth of his child, but he'll link up with the team soon enough. But here's my thoughts, guys. It's twofold right now. I'm looking at the Indian team from the prism of what we've already discussed. Rahul is one player who was up for debate. Look, his inclusion in the side does give you that balance and maybe that sense of assurance, especially on Indian pitches where the ball might turn Saurabh. Remember, earlier in the year, he played 2 superb innings. That unbeaten 64 against Sri Lanka, the Eden Gardens, and 17 odd not out against Australia. Both of those were pretty tricky run chases at the top order field. Given the condition of the top order, that's where you want someone like KL Rahul. His ability against spin is, again, you wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Remember that 2016, 2017 home series, he would come and score 150 after another, of course, batted at a different position. I know different format, but just to underline his strength against spin. Yeah. But where do you play him? Now look at the top 4. The top 3 select themselves, Rohit, Shubman and Virat. Shreyas Iyer has just made a comeback. Can you touch Ishan Kishan, who's now scored 4 consecutive half centuries, 3 in the West Indies, 1 against one of the best pace attacks in the world, again, the Pakistan pace attack. If Rahul plays in that Super 4 match against Pakistan, where is he playing?
I don't think he's playing.
Why? He's fit. He's ready to go.
Definitely, he's fit. He has declared himself fit. The chief selector has come out and said that he is fit enough to play in the World Cup. But has he played any competitive game?
Yes.
Where?
Simulation matches, NCA.
And what about Ishan Kishan, the guy who bailed you out against Pakistan?
But you scored 3 of those half centuries against the West Indies.
I mean, the player who has scored runs when it matters the most, he should get the preference over someone who has just not played for like 8-9 months any form of competitive cricket. He was selected in the Asia Cup squad. The chief selector and captain come. They say he has a niggle, so he will not play the 2 matches, which was the final date to select the ODI World Cup squad.
What happens to your processes?
You must go, but whatever I'm saying, I think it does not matter, right? I'm outside noise. Yes. We all are outside noise.
Forget us. Forget Saurabh, Akshay and Rajarshi. Even Ravi Shastri has become outside noise.
Yeah, obviously, everyone.
I mean, few cricketers have contributed as much to Indian cricket as Ravi Shastri has. Player, coach, manager, director. Indian cricket's crisis, man. And I mean, his opinions are being weighed in as outside noise. But it's a fair question to ask. No, but I know you're going to be sarcastic. You're demeaning the team. You can't do that before the World Cup. 1 month before the World Cup. 5th of September is when we're recording this podcast. 5th of October, you're 1 month away. Yeah. Isn't it a fair question to ask? Where does KL Rahul bat now?
We have, as in, both of you have criticized the team enough.
I haven't.
Now, the BCCI Chief Selection Committee and the team management have sat together and picked a 15-member squad. Now it's our... you can't do anything about it, right?
No.
It's our duty to back them.
Who's criticizing? I haven't criticized the team.
No, answering your question.
See, the problem is you can't ask questions. The moment you ask questions, it becomes criticism. Why?
Answering your question, India can afford to play both KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan.
At the expense of who?
At the expense of Shreyas Iyer.
Wow.
Who hasn't done good enough against short balls in the past.
Hang on.
And we saw how Shreyas Iyer got out.
From where is this logic coming? What are you talking?
Ludicrously horrible. What's nonsense? Utter nonsense.
No.
What are you saying?
Two podcasts back, you were the guy who came out and said Shreyas Iyer was your most informed ODI batter before Shubman Gill rose.
Last year. But he had those short ball issues. And we saw how he got out against
even
Pakistan.
Slightly embarrassed with what you just said. Short ball issues. Where are you
Pakistan
playing?
Against
Where
Pakistan.
Are you playing? Are you playing? Are you playing at Kingsmead? Are you playing
India captain,
in Barbados? Where are you playing?
Team India captain is saying that the pace will play a major role in this World Cup.
How many of these World Cup matches are being played in Durban? How many of these World Cup matches are being played in Johannesburg? How many of these matches are being played in Barbados? What are you
even if Shreyas
these matches are being played at home. You look at Shreyas Iyer's home record in ODIs. Come on.
Even if Shreyas Iyer doesn't have short ball issues, which he has, I would play KL Rahul at number 4 and Ishan Kishan at number 5. Are you also being
sarcastic? Because a few moments later, up the elevator, I asked you, now what happens? And you said, Shreyas Iyer is going to be the fall guy. And I said, Shreyas Iyer.
Yes.
Or, I don't know, maybe even Shubman.
Maybe you
maybe
what is the harm in trying a KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan at 4 and 5? KL Rahul is a proven customer at 4.
But didn't your captain come out and say, Shreyas Iyer has batted number 4 for us. Before he was injured also, he was batting at number 4. And he has done good for us. Yeah. He came out and said
So
before the Asia Cup.
So how will you accommodate this problem? You will drop someone who has
Who is the
scored
problem?
80
You are saying
against,
accommodate the problem. Who is the problem?
You eventually you have to drop Ishan Kishan then, because you have given Shreyas Iyer the first match against Pakistan
So we
despite
are all,
his lack
no,
of
no,
match
no.
practice.
So, okay.
Now if you
okay,
don't
now
do that
this
with KL
debate
Rahul,
has gone so fiery,
now
let us
if you
assume
don't
that
give KL Rahul that
Rahul.
same opportunity,
No, so
it
let
is
us,
unfair on his
so
part,
let
right?
us now assume that KL Rahul is going to be fit and raring to go on the 10th of September.
On
right?
what basis did Team India give Shreyas Iyer the opportunity against Pakistan?
NCA.
That opportunity
Those
should be
NCA
given to
matches.
KL Rahul
But
in
at
the first
whose
Super 4
expense?
match.
At whose
Shreyas'
expense?
expense, give
Why?
Ishan Kishan the benefit of
Why
doubt.
Shreyas? I mean, you just bring. Okay.
Raj,
I will.
that-
Okay,
you know,
ladies and gentlemen,
whatever you
I will.
say-
Ladies and gentlemen, I will just weigh out the ridiculousness of Akshay Ramesh's comment.
I'm baffled by whatever he has said.
Harris
baffled.
Roth bouncer
I'm baffled.
Shreyas Iyer
Absolutely.
out against
Listen,
Pakistan. Don't
okay,
forget that.
Okay. So here it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I said, right, the top three, they select themselves. We both agree that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ishan Kishan, you can't touch him now, right? Double century
That's
against
what we
Bangladesh.
think. Take it. A double century against Bangladesh and he was dropped. He was not picked for the Sri Lanka series.
Process.
Yeah.
Process.
That shouldn't happen. That's what I'm saying.
That allowed Shubman Gill to score a double hundred.
But
the more the
but
merrier, right?
we all say that India versus Pakistan matches make or break players. They create superstars. That was a proper knock.
Okay.
82 of 81 when the team was 66 for 4.
No. But okay. Let's.
You
Also
can't
not
drop him
let's,
now.
Let's also not be superfluous with our own opinions. Akshay,
Yes,
I know you're soon going to make that U-turn and go back to where we all started.
I am
but
saying at least for the first two Super 4 matches, give KL Rahul the opportunity and
he
figure him
might.
out.
He might get that. I agree with you, and this is exactly what we were discussing, Saurabh, Akshay, and I when we were coming up the stairs, and I said, look, there's a possibility that might happen. It will be unfair on Shreyas Iyer if it happens. It'll be unfair on any top order batter.
See,
if that happens.
both of you were surprised by the ridiculousness of my argument right now.
No,
But this is what the team management has
but
done.
when you say that Shreyas Iyer is dispensable, KL Rahul is not, that is when. No, you
No,
are
that is
not.
how
You,
the
no.
No,
Don't try to pass it off as sarcasm. You
No.
genuinely want KL Rahul.
That
which
is
fine,
exactly,
which is
exactly.
okay. He's a good player. If he gets there and scores some runs. In fact, in one of my articles today, I did mention KL Rahul's numbers this year.
Yes.
2 half centuries, like I said, 2 unbeaten half centuries on very, very tricky pitches in different
And
dynamics.
before he was
different-
injured in the IPL, he was
Again,
preparing for the World Cup in the
exactly.
IPL.
And with the strike,
With that strike rate over 90, 80.
No, again, you're being sarcastic.
No,
See?
but I'm
You
seriously
can't be
saying-
sarcastic. I don't allow sarcasm on the show.
But the team management has have themselves put themselves in this position.
Yeah.
As in, you have given Shreyas Iyer that opportunity after he came back without any match practice. Fewer simulation matches than Rahul at the NCA.
Yeah.
You gave him the opportunity against Pakistan. He couldn't do well. So if this
Do
is
we-
the
do
race,
we know some yo-yo scores,
Yeah.
but do we know the scores from these two batters at the NCA simulation match?
KL Rahul kept for 50 or 35 overs. The chief selector was
We're
not sure about that.
for sure.
Yeah.
We're not sure about that.
Yeah.
But it's about match practice.
Yeah.
No matter what you do at the nets, no matter what you do at the NCA, you saw what happened, right?
Yeah.
With India's top out against Pakistan. Rohit Sharma started off well with a couple of those loose deliveries from Shaheen Afridi going to the boundary. Shubman Gill was all at sea. After that rain break, early on in the Indian innings, there was a short rain break. The Pakistanis came back. Afridi nipped out
Yeah.
Rohit and Virat Kohli. Harris Roth was on fire. I think he picked up Gill and Shreyas.
Yeah.
That exposed your vulnerabilities against quality pace attacks.
Yes.
That has also exposed your lack of match practice. They were rusty. Thank goodness Ishan Kishan and Hardik Pandya and Rain stepped in. You don't know what could have happened. You know,
Absolutely.
A lot of commentators felt 266 was a great total.
Yeah.
Was it really? Was it really?
Especially after seeing what India did in the field against Nepal.
Exactly.
Exactly. India's body language was lethargic. A couple of commentators said, look, maybe it's Nepal. Maybe, they're not up for the... Come
That's
on,
not how you turn up.
If you're representing India,
You are a professional cricketer.
the shoulders are dropped. You dropped 3 catches. All 3 catches were regulation chances.
Absolutely.
And dropped by Ishan Kishan, Shreyas Iyer, Virat Kohli. Until the spinners came on and did the job
See,
for
we
India.
have a history of
Siraj
dropping
looked
catches.
rusty.
Yeah.
Shami was all right.
Yeah.
Kuldeep Yadav was okay, bent wicketless. Ravindra Jadeja was terrific. You are not, you're going to have to answer these questions. With the bat, you look rusty, the top order. Yeah. With the ball, on the field, you look rusty throughout.
Yeah. Raj, we have been
1
focused.
month away from the World Cup.
Yeah.
And 3 players have battled injuries and gotten into the side.
Yeah.
what does it tell you of your preparation?
Good preparation. We're happy with whatever we have done so far. So I'm saying we are focusing too much on batting. What about bowling?
I'm talking about the bowling.
You have always said batting depth, and today, as in on Tuesday, when Rohit Sharma was at the press
He
conference,
admitted
for the World
his
Cup,
lack of batting depth.
he said, we have clearly told our number 8, number 11, number 10, number 11 to chip in with the bat. It's not their responsibility to come in and just bowl
Just
out
get
oppositions.
wickets. Yeah.
They have to chip in with the bat.
Yeah.
And he said, had that happened against Pakistan, we would have scored 276. 10 runs, 15
10,
runs
15
extra.
runs more, always make the
Extra.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is that statement?
And-
the top order crumbled, and you want specialist bowlers to bat, but specialist batters can't even roll their arm over for
Doesn't
1 or 2
this
overs.
apply to doesn't this logic apply to the batters also?
No.
Their job is not just to score runs. They should pick up wickets.
Yeah.
Like in 2011 in the World Cup, you have talked about it so many times. We had so many bowling options. But our captain thinks that it's the bowler jobs to come and score runs.
But what you're forgetting is 2011. Those players were not stars, no. Tendulkar, Yuvraj, Sehwag. We have bigger stars now who have to worry about their own identity as batters. हम वो पागलपंती नहीं करते हैं. We're not that crazy.
Like process was the buzzword in the past, balance has become the buzzword now.
I have spoken about
Finding
it so
the
many
right
times.
balance.
You had 7, 8, 9 bowling options in those teams. Forget 2011, even go back to 2003.
Yes.
With Dinesh Mongia in the side, Rahul Dravid keeping wickets. You had additional bowling resources in Ganguly, Sachin, Sehwag and Dinesh Mongia and Yuvraj Singh.
And Yuvraj Singh.
To go with 4 or 5 other super bowlers, you have Srinath Nehra, Zaheer Khan.
I think only Caf and Rahul Dravid were not bowling in that.
Yeah. So you had that kind of lineup. And now you refuse to acknowledge the fact that your batsmen are not going to bowl. And then you joke about it.
Yeah.
And then you demand your tail end, your lower order, to get runs. And because you both of you highlighted this, Shardul Thakur played against Pakistan ahead of Shami, primarily because they don't
Yes.
trust their batting order.
Yeah.
They don't trust. Sanjay Manjrekar said as much.
Yeah.
He said, look, this call has to be around insecurities over the batting lineup.
Yes.
Nothing to take away from Shardul Thakur, who's been one of India's most impactful bowlers in the ODI format since the 2019 World Cup.
Yeah.
But when you pitch Shami versus Shardul, I think that, it's a clear winner. And because you're not certain about what your batters are going to do, you're going to pack the lower order with Shardul Thakur, Akshar Patel. And what has Shardul Thakur, by the way, done in one-day cricket with the bat?
Exactly. Again mixing
One half
formats.
century.
Again mixing formats. He has scored 50s
Yeah.
in overseas test matches. Good. But when it comes to
And a rapid
ODIs,
half century in the Indian Premier League and 1 half century in an ODI match.
So basically, the team management and the captain is saying,
Yeah.
Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli won't score that 30 extra runs. We want someone like Shardul Thakur to score those 30 extra runs at the cost of playing a frontline bowler.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're thinking?
this is what the captain has said right now.
This is what he has publicly said at a press conference in Kandy today.
Yep.
I'm not making this
While
up.
announcing
He
the
has.
While
ODI World
announcing
Cup
the ODI
squad.
World Cup squad. So has this cost someone like Yuzvendra Chahal a place in the side?
Yes, you got to ask that.
Someone
now.
like Prasidh Krishna, you could have taken
Yes.
him.
You got to ask that. You got to ask that because you're picking 5 specialist batsmen alongside 2 wicketkeeper batsmen who are also superb with the bat.
Yeah.
One of them is certainly not going to play.
Yes.
Surya Kumar Yadav, right? Unless you have a backup and a reserve, that kind of thing. But look at it this way. Look at the bowling now. So you leave aside the 5 specialist batsmen and the 2 wicketkeeper batsmen in KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan. Come to the bowling lineup. 3 specialist pacers only. 1 specialist spinner only. And then you have Hardik Pandya and Shardul Thakur. Shardul Thakur did not
Bowled
even
4
bowl,
overs.
only bowled 4 overs against Nepal. Kuldeep Yadav, of course, he's going to play most of these matches. I don't see Kuldeep Yadav and Jadeja missing out on these games.
Yeah.
But that is all the strength that you have. Yuzvendra Chahal, yes, because again, his addition in the 11 weakens up your batting lineup.
Yeah.
And I've said this in the past. In 2003, when India lost to Australia, and that scratchy start against Netherlands, Tendulkar promised to turn the tide around for India.
Yes.
And he led by example. Of course, he wasn't captain, but as the star of the team, Saurav Ganguly was in brilliant form. Rahul Dravid scored crucial runs. Yuvraj Singh scored crucial runs. Yes, you were batting up, down until number 7, but that is the thought process of the team management. You have to give credit to Ganguly and John Wright.
Exactly.
They got someone like Dinesh Mongia to come in at that position. who could also roll his arm over.
And Rahul Dravid was part of that team.
And your number 6 is now Hardik Pandya. Fantastic innings against Pakistan. And I think he steps up with his A game against Pakistan.
Now he considers himself as a batting all-rounder.
Is he Yuvraj Singh level? Is Ravindra Jadeja Yuvraj Singh level? You know, you saw what Yuvraj
Not
Singh
with the
achieved
bat.
in the 2011 World Cup. You wanted a player like that in the ODIs, in the ODI World Cup at home. You don't have that.
Exactly.
4 of your all-rounders, I mean, 2 Hardik and Jadeja are world-class. There's no doubting that. But is Shardul Thakur a world-class all-rounder yet in the ODI format? Is Akshar Patel a world-class all-rounder in ODI in the
How
ODI
many
format?
teams have these like-for-like replacements in the 15? You keep them as reserves, that's fine.
Yes.
But you might even have them in the 11. Shardul, Hardik, like-for-like.
Yeah.
Akshar, Jadeja, like-for-like.
You did have them across both the
Yes,
games. against
Akshar,
Pakistan.
Jadeja, like-for-like. On a pitch where I want to play 3 spinners, I wouldn't want 2 defensive bowlers. As in, to be frank, Ravindra Jadeja doesn't go for wickets in the middle overs unless and until the pitch is very conducive.
Yeah.
He bowls those fast, flat
Or
deliveries.
unless against, you're up against Nepal.
If you are coming up against a good side, there are chances of him getting taken down as well. And Akshar Patel and Ravindra Jadeja do the same thing.
But what do? You make the most of what you have.
You had plenty of other options. Why could you not consider an off spinner?
Like?
This is not, as in, I know, I'm not asking the team to consider an off spinner from last week, but they should have done this, right? Washington Sundar was available.
You're
for
talking like India has the services of someone like R. Ashwin. Oh, wait. We did. I mean, we could have thought about him in the lead up to
You
the
got
World
him
Cup.
back for the last 2 T20
Exactly.
World Cups out of the blue.
This logic,
Yeah.
you are playing a T20 World Cup in Australia, you pick Ashwin.
Yeah.
But when you are playing a 50-over World Cup in India,
Yeah.
you're not picking Ashwin.
Oh, maybe he's not fit enough, is he? He bowls overs after overs and
He
test
jumps
cricket.
to every chance of playing.
And he scored hundreds for fun in test cricket. He
You
scored 5 test match
needed a
hundreds.
player, a bowler who could bat. He could have done that. He was a very good spinner. He could have led by example. A senior spinner, a legend.
You know, I know we're slightly deviating when we're talking about R. Ashwin here, but R. Ashwin is the biggest enigma to me in world cricket.
Exactly.
The world's number 1 bowler, when you went to England 2 years back, he did not play those test matches. You'd watch with utter shock and see, the world's best test bowler is warming the benches. No matter what your conditions are, you play R. Ashwin. You did not play him in the WTC final again. And at least the fact that you could have kept him in the build-up to the ODI World Cup, you tried so many players, your resources are weak. Yeah. You don't have... by the way, your bowling lineup is looking very flimsy right now.
Absolutely.
For instance, I have...
thanks to Shardul, or maybe thanks to the lack of your batting depth, you're going to be able to play only 2 specialist paces.
Yeah. And those 2 specialist paces, one of them, Jasprit Bumrah, you might want him for the death and in the middle overs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who will be your new ball bowler? Hardik Pandya. You will expect him to do the job with the new ball against
That
teams
is
like
what it
Australia
looks
and
like.
England.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
So you, in the name of beefing up your batting strength, you've completely mucked up your bowling. As in, Yuzvendra Chahal has every right to be miffed. Despite, it was not like Yuzvendra Chahal did not play, only played 2 ODIs like Ashwin since the last World Cup. No.
Yeah.
He has played more than 20 ODIs for India since the last World Cup. And he was in the scheme of things until he was part of the West Indies tour. He didn't get a game. But now, he was not even in the Asia Cup squad. He's not even in the World Cup squad. When you can play 2 left-arm spinners, when you can play 2 medium-paced all-rounders, 2 wrist spinners.
No, but why just Yuzvendra Chahal? Prasidh Krishna should be miffed.
Yeah.
You brought him back from injury. You rushed him to Ireland.
Exactly.
And the focus and the build-up was such that, oh goodness, Prasidh Krishna's build-up. And,
He has also played more than 15, 20 ODIs.
Exactly. And he's been fantastic.
He is
at home.
fantastic in Indian conditions.
Yes. And also one of Shami and Siraj will be miffed throughout the World Cup. Because you have picked 3 really world-class seamers. And not all 3 of them will ever play. Because the captain has already justified it by saying that, look, it depends on conditions. And conditions to be read as lack of batting depth.
Yes.
And you've also admitted the complete lack of batting depth. But I fail to understand. Help me understand this. Yeah. I've only covered the sport for 15 years, so I might have missed trick here or there. When you have 5 specialist batsmen, when you have the option of playing someone like Surya Kumar Yadav, but you wouldn't, and then you have an ace all-rounder like Hardik Pandya, who's no mug with the bat, of course, he's proven that, and then you have Ravindra Jadeja at number 7. Why do you see that as a lack of batting depth, Saurabh?
Because
Is the captain ridiculing his own batting line?
Absolutely he is. Because our captain knows what his top order has done over the past 3-4 years. He's himself not sure. If you heard him after that match against Nepal, He was like, they asked him, "Are you happy with his knock?" He was like, "No, I was nervous in the start." He is not confident about his own batting.
No, but he's not talking about the top order failures.
He will-
his point is
obviously, he will not
there is
come-
his point is, oh, but we need someone at number 8 and numbers 9, 10, 11 need to
Yeah,
also
like
bat.
Akshay pointed out, he will never come out and say that the top order is not performing. He will always come out and say that, look, we need players who can come down lower down the order and score those runs. He is one of those guys.
66 against Pakistan was the top order's contribution. 66 for 4. Rohit Sharma out cheaply.
But what do you do? It was raining and it was Shaheen Afridi.
And then you expect Shardul Thakur to come and get those runs.
Yeah.
Inexplicable.
Jadeja scored only 14.
But
Why not?
On the flip side, you always plan for the, you always plan for the worst, right? To win contingency planning. That's what they're doing. We expect our top order to be 23 for 4, 66 for 4 against good
You're being
teams.
sarcastic again. So,
No, but that's how you plan. That if you identify your area of weaknesses and try to rectify it. That's how you win, right?
No, you identify your area of weakness. That is what the team has done, but they are not rectifying it.
No, we don't want to take the responsibility, give the responsibility to top order.
What they are doing is so you have one area of weakness, and then you have an area of which is very strong. You're bowling. You are making making that also weak.
yes, exactly. Now you've hit the nail on the coffin because you don't. That's exactly what we've been talking about. And remember, we said this, we discussed this even before the Asia Cup. That because India do not trust their top order, they're going to muddle up the bowling lineup as well. A lot of questions have been asked. When we get these comments on YouTube and on our podcasts, people ask us, you guys have done a lot of analysis around India's batting lineup. Why don't you guys talk about the bowling lineup? We have. By the way, please go and look at any of our last episodes over the last 2 months. We have also gone deep into India's bowling troubles. The problem is India don't have any bowling woos. You're creating those.
Yes.
You're creating those by not playing Bumrah, Shami and Siraj together in these critical matches. You're creating those by playing Shardul Thakur, again with all due respect to Shardul Thakur, but when you pitch him against Shami or Siraj, I think Shami and Siraj are much better bowlers. They're faster. They have more variety. They have, they have better wicket-taking skills. They are prone to bowling at different stages of the innings. They can bowl with a new ball. They can come in the middle overs. They can obviously do very well at the death, especially Siraj and Bumrah. And you need that kind of pace lineup, pace attack as well. You saw what happened with Pakistan. 3 superb pacers, 3 world-class pacers, but the spin lineup is completely thin, right? Wafer thin spin attack. And that's what allowed Ishan Kishan and Hardik Pandya. They take nothing away from them. They were fantastic, Hardik and Ishan. But that is the kind of problem you are creating for yourself. By not picking up Yuzvendra Chahal, by not even looking at R. Ashwin over the last 2 years.
Washington Sundar, even if R. Ashwin, age is a concern.
Why should age
Washington
be a concern?
Sundar,
Age is just a number for you guys.
You could have groomed him for becoming an ODI
Definitely,
specialist.
if you think that KL Rahul is an important player despite him being injured for most part of the year, Sundar can also be picked up.
So many good spinners in the IPL. Ravi Bishnoi, Mayank Markande, where are they?
Batting nahi aata.
As in,
So basically, to become a bowler and get into the Indian team, you first need to be a super batter. You score anything less than 30 on an average, don't line up.
Then you can roll your arm over, you can make the team. As in, this statement, as in, we have all seen teams going for batting depth, right? England stack their team with batting depth. Australia have done that in the past. New Zealand do that.
And guys who can bowl. Maxwell,
but-
Stoinis,
Exactly.
Mitchell Marsh. Mitchell Marsh has been in super form. I mean, in the T20s against South Africa.
Even if your number 8 has to score runs, it should be from 260 to 290. That 20 extra runs when your top order has done well. A Shami can do that job. A Shami can swing his bat and do that job. But if you are always expecting your team to be 150 for 6 and then someone to bail you out to 250.
In a different time, when commentators could speak out without fearing the ire and the wrath of current cricket superstars, a lot of commentators would tell you on air, why are you so worried about a number 7 batsman
when you're
if
top
you don't
6.
trust the top 6 to do well?
Exactly.
It's the same question that I have now. You're batting on very good batting friendly pitches. What would you expect your number 6, 7, 8, 9 to do if the top 5 don't fire? If you're chasing 350 and if you're 4 down for 100, what do you expect number 7 and 8 to do? Unless somebody's in the middle of a terrific game and a terrific phase of their career and suddenly you see a barnstorming 100 from Shardul Thakur just change the complexion of the game, that's different. But how often will you have that? You're chasing down 340, 350. You're most likely to see your top order do well. Remember the 2013s and 2014s, 2015s, 2012s,
Yes.
when India would generally chase down those big scores. You had Kohli and Rohit with backup support. That ODI against Australia back in 2010, when Tendulkar scored those 175 runs,
175, yes.
they floundered at the end because the lower order couldn't really, get across the line. Ravindra Jadeja wasn't half the cricketer he is today. And he got out at a crucial juncture. But just think about the World Cup semi-final, 2019. The top order failed, but Dhoni and Jadeja almost took India home because you weren't chasing that many. It was a middling chase. But in that sense, you have that batting lineup. Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, 260, 270 would be right up their sleeves. Then Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, and then maybe a number 8. Where Kuldeep Yadav too could,
Definitely, he could.
Kuldeep Yadav has improved as a batter. But you have to think of the worst case scenarios. You're looking at massive totals being almost the norm in ODIs these days. You'll get dewy conditions, which will make bowling much more difficult.
For finger spinners.
And most good teams have packed their lineups with wrist spinners. Even Pakistan, part-time wrist spinners, but they have those wrist spinners. And you have to have that attitude. That's why Australia and England are so complete favourites.
An uncapped spinner. Tanveer Sangha, who did really well in the T20I series.
To go with Adam Zampa. Stephen Smith can roll his arm over to even if Rohit and Kohli
Let's not go there. If you talk too much about it, then it feels very depressing to see this.
No, it's not. I mean, I'm looking at some of the favourites, and I don't agree when people say Australia, England, India, and Pakistan. I don't see India and Pakistan as outright favourites this time, to be honest. Pakistan, I know we've talked about the pace attack, but they have a whole lot of issues. They're too reliant on their top three, Fakhar Zaman, Imam and Babar. And then they have a very flimsy middle order. They have a trio of superb pacers, but the spinners are again their weakest trait. But you look at Australia, that all-round attack and that all-round batting lineup. You have batsmen who can bowl, bowlers who can bat. Right up from Glenn Maxwell, who's, by the way, resting ahead of the World Cup. Mitchell Marsh, who's been such fantastic form. Marcus Stoinis. Pat Cummins, Mitchell Starc, who can all chip in with the bat. And then you have others who can also weigh in. I mean, Steve Smith, if you think the Chennai surface is taking turn, you never know. A couple of overs from Smith himself could turn the tide for you. You were courageous enough to drop Manas Labuschagne because he wasn't doing much. Harry Brook was kept out of the World Cup side because England wanted to bring back Ben Stokes. And now Harry Brook might as well finally cement his place by the 20th of September. And look at the South African squad as well. It's that base lineup is looking very threatening.
And
extremely threatening.
I have a feeling that India are not even the strongest in Asia this time. To be frank, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, they have the firepower. They have the all-rounders. Bowling options.
Sri Lanka playing without 4 of the genuine.
I agree with both of you. And I mean, the Super Force of Asia Cup is going to commence.
Yeah, that will give us a clear
You'll get a clear picture of how strong your Indian favorites are in Asia also, out of the World Cup.
Exactly. Raj, one question I wanted to ask. What do you make of the Surya Kumar Yadav selection? What was the basis of that selection?
I think it's as chaotic as a couple of other selections. It's confusing because of one simple factor. Surya Kumar Yadav, you have to, doff your hat to him for his performances in the T20 format. Whether it's for Mumbai Indians, whether it's been T20 internationals, he has been fantastic. But again, what did he do in the T20 World Cup? Yes, he saved you the blushes against South Africa with a very good half century on a very, very spicy pitch. But apart from that, and one-day cricket especially, what has he done to merit that World Cup call-up? He's been playing one-day cricket for over 2 years now.
Yes.
3 golden ducks against Australia. Did nothing in the West Indies. Suddenly you shifted him down to number 6 for one match and you're suddenly like, oh, you know what, he's going to be a number 6. And you go to the Asia Cup and you don't even play him in the 11. You don't even talk about him.
Where will you fit him?
Where will you fit him? Because you're not sure about your batting lineup. What if Shreyas Iyer doesn't go on? What if KL Rahul's form fluctuates? Then we'll think of Shreyas Iyer as Surya Kumar Yadav as a number 6. Hardik Pandya then moves on to number 5. That Surya Kumar Yadav is got to defy logic. And I was surprised nobody at the press conference even asked them. And by the way, you're talking about Surya Kumar Yadav. What about Tilak Varma, young Tilak Varma?
Yeah.
Does well in the T20 series in the West Indies. Is part of the Asian Games squad. Fine. Take him there. Let him.
And he can roll arms for you. He can actually, not like your captain coming out and saying and doing nothing. He can come out and bowl a couple of overs.
And what did the chief selector say? Tilak Varma might be withdrawn from the Asian Games squad. I mean, that's what he hinted at, right?
Yes,
if he does
exactly.
well, and at the Asia Cup, we'll see. And we discussed that as well. Where will he play? He won't get a game against Pakistan for
The
sure.
ideal game
Even
could
if
have
he
been
got-
Nepal.
That even if he got a game against Nepal, even if he scored 100 if India had batted first, would you have just brought him into the World Cup side? I mean, they might have. You never know.
Like that shows you how confused the selection and the team management were, right? As in, you don't pick Tilak Varma for the World Cup, completely understandable. Why did you dangle that carrot?
I'll tell you what.
What was the reason behind picking him for the
I'll
Asia
give you
Cup
the
squad?
reason. I'll give you the reason because even now they're not sure this is the best 15. No matter
Yes,
what they say
yes.
in front of the media.
Yeah.
What did they say before the Asia Cup squad selection or during the Asia Cup squad selection? They said obviously this is going to be the fulcrum of our World Cup side.
Yeah.
And they left out Prasidh Krishna and Tilak Varma.
Yeah.
Now, if you picked Prasidh, I mean, obviously, fine. You know, out of the 17 plus 1, Sanju Samson, you realize that, okay, 3 players would definitely miss out. But my point is, why Prasidh Krishna, why Tilak Varma? Wasn't there any other batsman who should have lined up for the Asia Cup squad ahead of Tilak Varma? Was there no other middle order option? Why Tilak Varma? That is where the confusion is. Because you see him doing well in a couple of matches in the West Indies, you said, you know what? Oh,
why
he can also
not
bowl.
Sanju Samson?
Why not Sanju Samson? Why not Rahul
again,
Tripathi?
No, if you are
Why
looking
not
for a
Ruturaj
left-hander,
Gaikwad?
so that means you were not even sure of Ishan Kishan fitting in the middle order.
No, you were not.
Just
You were
one
not.
knock he played, they took that chance and it worked out. Now it's saving their face.
Exactly. Because
Otherwise, you were not thinking of Ishan Kishan as a middle order batter at all.
even if you tell me that, no, look, maybe they had the West Indies series in mind.
Yeah.
They did not because Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli were genuinely scheduled to play in the West Indies.
Yeah.
If you did not want to play them, your 2 biggest stars, you could have sent them home and said, you know what, play the test matches and get some rest. It's what starts. Sunil Gavaskar's comments started this whole conundrum because you don't listen to outside noise, but you will react to outside noise. And Sunil Gavaskar said, what have you learned from the test series that you did not already know? Then they suddenly decided, you know what you already know Rohit and Kohli might score runs against the West Indies. Let's let them sit out and let some of these younger guys get a chance. Which younger guy got any chances? My problem is, for a year and a half leading into the World Cup, you should have been playing your best 11. With or without injury.
Exactly.
Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul were injured. You should have looked at other options. You did not. You could have given them consistent runs. You did not. Longer ropes. You did not. You'd now say, they played up until March. But you had 3 more games against the West Indies. That is where you could have tried them. Shreyas Iyer wasn't part of the Australia series. And even with the T20s, by the way, Ireland and the West Indies, you had 8 T20Is to
Yes.
test batsmen and their match fitness and their match readiness. You did not do that.
No disregard to anyone. Can both of you name 2 people who you wouldn't have in the team and then 2 you would have had in the
Surya
team?
Kumar Yadav for one,
Yeah.
and KL Rahul, because I would bank on a player with some form of international match practice, match ability. I mean, no disrespect to either. Surya Kumar Yadav, because his ODI form has been horrible.
Yeah.
And KL Rahul is just running it too tight. Too tight. I would have had an extra bowler or a bowling all-rounder. And I would have had someone like Sanju Samson as a backup.
What about you?
If you ask me, I would like to have a leg spinner or an off-spinner instead
Yeah.
of Akshar Patel.
Yes.
He's a like-to-like replacement of Jadeja Jadeja. I don't think he will be playing any game.
Yeah.
He will play, I think, if Jadeja is injured or anything of that sort.
Or if you
happens.
have to play 3
Three
spinners, you
spinners
have to play.
in that case. And the second player, obviously, if you ask me, KL Rahul. Sanju Samson deserves that spot.
But what about you, by the way? Before I
Surya Kumar and Akshar Patel.
Akshar Patel. Well, poor Akshar Patel is getting the hack. You don't trust your batting lineup. That's why you want a bowler who can at least hold the bat and get you 5 or 10 runs. And
I would rather have an attacking spinner in that squad.
Absolutely.
Akshar
You're
is
playing
not
in
an
India.
attacking spinner. And if you are up
that's putting
against
too much pressure on your batsman.
if you are up against a raging England or Australian team, I wouldn't want a defensive bowler. I would want to take wickets in the middle overs, which sadly Akshar Patel might not be able to do.
I'm also a little worried about Siraj's approach against Nepal. Either he was bored or he didn't want to exert himself against Nepal, with all due respect to Nepal. But Siraj is a much better bowler than that.
I
If
think
he was
he-
looking rusty,
I think he
where
was
is the
rusty.
time? Where is the time to recuperate and
Because I think he has not played any form of cricket after that WTC final against
They
Australia.
sent him back home. saying
Exactly.
that, yeah.
He didn't play in the West Indies. But my concern is that with the rain threat in Colombo or Palakile, if the tournament doesn't move towards drier regions in Sri Lanka, what happens to your match practice and
3
your match
ODIs
readiness?
against Australia.
That's all that you have. You haven't, by the way, you wanted to prepare yourselves. Pakistan match washed out. Nepal, barely there or thereabouts. And then you're facing Pakistan. And then, of course, the rest of the Super 4 lineup will be decided very soon. I mean, even when the podcast is released, by then the Super 4 lineup would have been released. But very, very tricky. Very tricky. But, now you can't say that you're playing against weaker teams.
Yeah.
Against Pakistan, whether it's against Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, whoever it is, you will get stiff competition.
Yes.
And against a full-strength Sri Lanka, you will be tested. Of course, that's not going to happen in the Asia Cup. But with Bangladesh also, they have a couple of their senior cricketers missing out. Afghanistan is almost full strength, their bowling lineup. So you will be tested. And we just hope there is no rain. We hope
I just hope that there's no rain and India get enough match practice before the World Cup. Because, now you've selected a 15. Yeah. You have to make do with it. Yeah. Find solutions. Work around it.
You don't have a lot of time to find those solutions because you're looking at 7 matches from here on. 7 matches, including the Asia Cup final, provided you make it to the final.
Yeah. And 9 more matches in the group stage of the World Cup before the semi-final.
A couple of warm-up games as well.
It's too much match practice.
Maybe workload management. Rest the captain for a couple of matches.
I am just hoping against hope. Don't bring in workload management. I hate the term workload management. I mean, even with us, I don't know what workload management.
After all the workload management that you've done over the last 2-3 years, if you can't play 9 matches straight in the World Cup.
But anyway, that's all that we have on this episode. I know we've sort of run out of time. We're still trying to find the vibe around this squad. But whatever this is your squad. This is India's squad for the World Cup. Just to run you through that again, Rohit Sharma, captain, Hardik Pandya, the vice captain. You have Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav, KL Rahul, Ishan Kishan, Shreyas Iyer, Ravindra Jadeja, Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur, Mohammad Shami, Mohammad Siraj, Jasprit Bumrah, Kuldeep Yadav. That's your side for the World Cup. Of course, it's a provisional squad because you have up until the 20th of September to make as many changes as you like. You can make 15 changes if you want to. You can bring in a few more. You can drop a few more. Of course, hopefully those injury concerns would have been sorted and you wouldn't need to make any changes. That's that. Then South Africa have also named the squad. No surprises there. But Quinton de Kock has said this will be his last ODI tournament. He's going to retire at the end of the World Cup. Australia.
Kane Williamson is likely to be picked in the World Cup squad after that injury concerns.
But again, it's the New Zealand squad is going to be announced by the time this episode drops on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, Google Podcasts. And wherever this episode drops, please do like, comment, share, and share your comments with us because that's what's going to drive us. You can also share your comments on YouTube. Tell us what you want us to bring to you the next week because it's going to be a spicy build-up to the World Cup. With everything the captain has said, he snapped at a journalist again today. They don't ask me these questions about Mahal, something about atmosphere.
India versus Pakistan. Around the India.
Don't ask me such questions. World Cup mein mat puchna. I'm not going to answer them. We're focused on the cricket. That sounds like a captain who means business. Maybe the World Cup is going to come home. Remember, India haven't won an ICC tournament for 10 years. Is the World Cup coming home?
I hope so.
Oh, you didn't even put India among the last 4.
I hope so. I'm saying I hope so. I'm not saying that we will. I hope so. As an Indian, that is what I want.
I want it to happen, but it won't happen.
Hope so. Want ka kya hota hai?
It won't happen, is what I think.
With
World Cup coming home.
With the strategy the team management has implemented over a couple of years and over the past 1 year, the press conferences they do. I don't believe they are going to win it, but I hope so that they win it.
To simply put it, if you win the World Cup with this level of preparation, then I don't know, 2011 World Cup and this World Cup, as in it doesn't do justice to that. How transparent.
But what I drive inspiration from is 2015. You were being beaten left, right, and centre in Australia, and then you stormed into the semi-finals of the World Cup, and again crushed by Australia. But that's different. That Australian team was different. But this Australian team is very dangerous as well. So Australia and England for me are the real frontline favourites.
Maybe the home support, the familiarity with the conditions, and all that.
But then I don't think conditions matter anymore. I don't think home advantage is.
Yeah. Which is what head coach Rahul said. Yeah.
I was just trying to do that. I was just trying to repeat his words.
Yes. Home. Yeah.
But that's all that we have. No home advantage, but plenty of home advantage for us on the Sledging Room. We're just, getting getting bigger and bigger every day, if I may say so myself, because of all the rave reviews on this podcast, on the Sledging Room. It's very heartening. So that's why you need to keep those comments coming in. And we promise to read those comments out at some point in time. Akshay, that's your responsibility. Do that the next week, right? Don't be sarcastic.
No.
Don't make fun of people. No. Be nice. Be nice, all of you. Be nice to each other. We'll see you next week. Thank you.